music is so beautiful today. I didn't expect Ryan. I think he still does, work in music ministry at St. Mary's in Swarmville. I was there for about 5 months. And the Rogers boy, where is he? There he is. He's amazing on the piano, isn't he? He comes up with all kinds, now it's hard to mess up a concert grand, Steinway concert grand, to be fair. But he makes it just sing. He does all these special effects, and so it's wonderful to be able to hear all of that. And to see all of you here, it is a wonderful opportunity. I've seen several people from different parishes. This is sort of really a Catholic celebration because it's universal. There are people from everywhere here, and we all are one family. We gather together. We bless ourselves with the same water of baptism when we come in that reminds us we are brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ. You know, I was reading the other day as I was getting ready for this particular celebration. It's a difficult one. Unless you're able to take up my cross like I did, then you can't be my follower. Jesus isn't being judgmental there. He's speaking of an existential fact. If you can't do that, you can't be my follower. If you can't carry your cross, then I don't think you can be my follower. It's kind of an absolute need to be able to do that. There was a young man who could not accept the fact that he had lost his leg in an accident. This is the gist of a film called American Anthem. From a long time ago, you probably didn't see it, but the man, in response to that event, locks himself in his room. He will not come out of his room. Pulls the shades. He's lost his leg, remember. It's changed his life. He thinks irreparably. He refused to leave his room. He refused to speak to people who love him, even his girlfriend, who admires him and loves him. He keeps her distant from him. Instead, he fills himself with this darkness. He plays grim music, probably Wagner or something like that. But then there's another scene I want you to imagine. This is a true story as well. There was a man walking down a crowded city street, and horns were beeping, people shouting things at one another. All kinds of noise. There was din everywhere. And suddenly the man heard a sound of someone singing cheerfully and sweetly and beautifully, gently. It wasn't a boisterous kind of singing you'd expect from some busker. It was the sweetest sound, like an angel almost. When the man looked around for the source of the sound, he couldn't believe his eyes when he saw where it was coming from. It was coming from a young man in a wheelchair who had neither leg. And he was moving himself gently up the street and singing this beautiful, never heard melody before, using the only limbs he had, his arms, to propel him forward. The two scenes illustrate, I think, in a way, one of the things Jesus is talking about to us today. Whoever cannot take up their cross, the one who allows bitterness to take over, cannot be my follower. There's not much I can do for them. The first young man in the story refused to accept this new situation. We have new situations in our life all the time, don't we? There's a constant change. Life is ephemeral. Everything is changing all the time. Some things we're glad they change. Others, we would like to just grab hold of them and say, no, wait, stop. He refused to accept this deep sadness, only to let it destroy him. The second man took up his cross. He accepted his situation. He faced life. He had no legs, but somehow his acceptance brought him deep peace, not only to him, but to all those around him. All of us can relate to this one way or the other. We have experienced setbacks and sufferings and loss, tragedy, painful situations that we could not change. We faced the painful choice of how we should respond to that. Would we refuse to take up our cross as the first young man did? Or would we take up that cross filled with grace as the second did? As I was thinking of these two stories and trying to analyze them and read the things that were written about it, I thought to myself, what is it that makes some people able to take up the cross and follow Christ, and others cannot? They cannot, it seems. Why is it that some people can suffer reversal and come away better people, and other people suffer the same reversal and come away bitter people? Why is that? Why is tragedy for one person a stepping stone, and for another person a stumbling block? I brought a book with me today that has been very meaningful to me. We all have in our libraries, our history, books that have made a difference to us. This is written by Viktor Frankl, and the book's title is Man's Search for Meaning. I just want to get a sense. I'm not going to ask you any questions, so just how many have read Man's Search for Meaning? Okay, it's quite a classic, really. It's a story of a man and his wife during Nazi Germany who were put in a prison camp, separated from each other. Frankl is a psychiatrist. He's died. They destroy all of the dignity of every human being, the guards do. There is a brutal climate in those concentration camps that are devastating, really. It turns some prisoners into animals, and it turned other prisoners into saints. What makes the difference? I remember reading this book so many years ago, and he spoke of how he loved his wife. He thought they had this wonderfully intimate marriage. But he said he did not know intimacy really until he and his wife were in this prison camp, separated, could not see, could not talk to one another, and somehow experienced a transcendent presence, one to the other, that gave him meaning. He said the deciding difference between the prisoners who became animals and those who became saints was faith. I'm not talking about pious religion now. Now, I have nothing against pious religion. Please continue doing that. Don't write the bishop saying the priest doesn't like pious religion, because I'll get a call. Gary, did you say you don't like pious religion? I'm not saying that. Pious religion is sort of like macaroni and cheese. It's comfort food for us. It gets us through difficult times. It's good day to day. It's like tuna casserole, or for guys, I don't mean to be sexist here, it's like beef stew. Ladies, I don't think are as keen on it as guys are. I could live on just beef stew. You know, a little bit of vegetables from the ground and potatoes and carrots, lots of beef and brown gravy. I can get by. Each day can seem okay. It's comfort food. Religion and religious practices can be like that. They comfort us. But when it comes bone on bone in our human soul, and we ask very fundamental questions about the reality of life and existence itself, comfort food doesn't make it, does it? You don't really care what you're eating when everything is dry and arid within you. And what Frankl said is, it is faith, and faith in meaning, giving meaning to your life, being able to know there is someone. Teresa of Avila knew this so well. Frankl knew this so well. He was not a Christian. Mother Teresa of Calcutta knew it. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the great German evangelical minister, they knew that. You know that. It helped them to maintain their humanity, even in the face of inhumanity. My friends, as we listen to Jesus' words, unless you can take up your cross, you're not ready. You can't be my follower. You have to be able to embrace the crucible of life itself when it is most painful and find meaning in that. Extract meaning from that moment.